This video was made possible by the EA Creator Network. Hello everyone, welcome on into The Sims 4. I'm Velvet, thanks for joining me today as we speed build a fantastic family home. It's going to be a lot of fun, so I hope you can hang out with me today and we can get straight into what is going on here because, wow, what is going on here? Great question. So aside the fact from that we are speed building a family home, and this is going to be a modern 5-bedroom family home. So it is on the larger side, and I am building this on a 40 by 20 lot, which is an unusual size lot. Now I say it's an unusual size lot because there's only, off the top of my head, I can only think of 2. There might be another one somewhere else that I'm forgetting to think about, but there's only a couple of lots that are in this sort of odd size throughout the world that we have in The Sims 4. And there is Sandy, I was going to say, I think it's Sandy Run in Newcrest. And that's kind of like a vertical sort of style 40 by 20 lot. This is a horizontal style 40 by 20 lot, and this is in Sequoia, in the world that came with Grown Together. Now, there is a reason that I am building in this particular world and on this particular lot. And there's 2 separate reasons. So the first reason is that I am doing this as part of a collaboration. So this collaboration has been hosted by Tinker Tailor, and the whole idea behind this collaboration is it's a save file, and it's a one world, one pack save file. So the idea is that you have one world, there's more than one world, but you can choose the world that you want to build in. So I decided that I wanted to build in Sequoia, and the world that you decide to build in basically determines the pack that you use. So you use base game plus the pack that the world kind of came with. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. It's a Grown Together and base game only build, 40 by 20, 5-bedroom modern family home. So there you go. This is the build that I decided to do for the collaboration, and it's sort of like leaned into my strengths, I feel like, as a builder, and that it's sort of the modern sort of style, and it's gave me a challenge as far as, like, you know, the roofing side of things, styling a building that I wanted to basically try and bring to life on a 40 by 20 lot, which is a bit of an odder size lot because, yeah, you don't really get this, you know, a lot of the lots are kind of like 50 by 40, 40 by 30. So they're quite close in, you know, dimensions to a square, you know, like it's a slight rectangle, but it's not too bad, right? But, you know, when we're talking about a 40 by 20 lot, it's very rectangular. So that can be a challenge in terms of the way that it's laid out. And the challenge with this particular shape for me was that it's quite wide. And then how do you use that space and use that space effectively? So, and another part of the challenge of this collaboration is that, you know, we are doing it in the style of the world around us as well. So not only did I have to make this or build this with one pack plus base game, I had to sort of really try and capture the essence of Sequoia in this build as well, and make the build kind of feel like it's a build that would be in this world. And so, yeah, so it was kind of like thinking about a build that would work in the world, that would work on a 40 by 20 lot. And I didn't have to use a 40 by 20 lot, but I will come to the reason why I chose this lot in a second. So yeah, there was a lot of sort of elements involved in just trying to work out how to create like this really cool modern family home that would look just perfectly natural in San Sequoia. And San Sequoia is a world that very much lends itself towards being quite modern, suburban in its aesthetic. And I love a modern suburban build. So that's part of why I chose to go with San Sequoia. Um, the other thing is my cat is making some weird noises in the kitchen, and I don't know what he's doing, but it's weird. Anyhow, it's distracting and weird. And the other thing is that I chose this lot for a bit of a nostalgic reason. And for a long time, it was this particular lot was my most popular build on the gallery. And I had a build that I made for Mena Buckner's Shell Challenge a long time ago. I would say probably a couple of years ago. And I built this beautiful house. It was like, and I did it one pack. So I did it growing together in base game only, and I built it on this particular lot, and it was for for a shell challenge that Mena put together. And for a very long time, that particular build was my most downloaded build on the gallery. It's not anymore, but it's still up there. It's like still one of my highest downloaded builds. Up on the gallery there. And anyway, for nostalgia's sort of sake, I just was thinking about which world I wanted to build in, and this is a lot that I've actually built on since, but I don't think I did it as a limited pack build. And when the opportunity came up to do this collaboration, and we were doing the limited pack things, it kind of reminded me of that build that I did for the shell challenge for Mena. And yeah, I thought, well, nostalgically, wouldn't it be cool if I went back to this lot and I did a one pack build on this lot, just like I did, a couple of years ago when Growing Together came out. And I built like a different kind of house on that lot, the original house that I built on here was a modern suburban, and this is a modern suburban kind of style home. And yeah, so I thought, that would actually have like a bit of personal meaning to me as well, because I was so proud of that build. And it always just sort of sat there at the top of the gallery, most downloads, that sort of thing for a long time. And I'd look at it and go, wow, it's such a cool build. And it's one of those lots that I think that not a lot of people tend to build on because it is an awkward shape. So I think from that perspective, it was probably a lot that went into why that had a few more downloads than maybe some of my other builds. So but anyway, yeah, for nostalgia's sake, I just was like, well, why don't I revisit sort of building on a lot that I haven't built on in a long time with just these limited packs, and bring that sort of nostalgic memory back to life. So that was the second reason why I decided to choose this particular lot for this particular collaboration, because it just really did bring to mind the build that I did for that particular shell challenge, and because it was a limited pack build. So yeah, that's kind of the reasons behind it. And I've waffled about about stuff, and I haven't talked about the build at all so far. So you've sort of seen the exterior come to life and how I've sort of managed that. We are now starting to work on the interior. So with the exterior, I did create a garage, and as you can see, or as you probably saw, there was a height change with the garage because the house itself is on a foundation, so the garage itself is kind of lifted up. So I used terrain manipulation, otherwise known as moraine, to basically look like it was like quite a natural slope up into the garage. So there's a bit of terrain manipulation in this build, and the main exterior area or outside area for this build is off to the side rather than to the back of the house. Which is something I will quite often do when it is a horizontal lot like this is that I will pop the landscaping to the side rather than behind the houses, which is where I would traditionally put, the sort of the outdoor entertaining areas with a build when, I've got a vertical lot to deal with. Or, most lots would tend to be in behind the house rather than beside the house. But with these vertical lots, I do tend to put the entertaining areas in beside the house rather than behind the house, because you just don't have that space by the time you, I mean, it depends on the shape of your house, but most of the time I find that balance wise it fits better there. So at the moment I am working on the garage. Now in this build I did try and put as much skill building stuff in it as I could, because I thought this is going to be a family home, and you know, it's the kind of home that I feel like you could generationally play in. So you know, you could get like generation after generation out of this house. Maybe you wouldn't have space for the graveyard, but that could, you know, that doesn't have to be on the lot, does it? It can be like a whole other separate place out in the world. Anyway, I did want to make this user friendly, from the sense that you could come in here and you would have hobbies and things to do as you played in this build. So, you know, in the garage, I've got the fitness areas, as you can see here, and there's like a little art area, and there's woodworking as well. So the things that you could do in this build, obviously, because it is a limited pack build, there is limitations in what hobby items there are. I mean, the thing is, you could always switch them around if you wanted to as well. You know, if you've got different packs, you can mix and match and do whatever you like with it. But I only had the 2 packs to work with, so I set it up as if you only had the 2 packs. So yeah, there's a large garage space which has those 3 sort of skill building items in it. And then, as I said, there are 5 bedrooms in this house. So a modern suburban, 5 bedrooms. So downstairs there's the nursery. So there is a nursery space which has the bassinet. It has the crib and the toddler bed. And then that has a little ensuite with it as well. So it should be pretty kid friendly. I'm trying to think whether or not I put a potty in this building. You know what? I don't know if I did. Aside from that, did I? I can't remember. Who knows? Anyway, that's a minor thing. It's so funny how I just fixate on these minor things sometimes. Anyway, so there is a nursery, and then there's also a bedroom for kids, which has, I'm just trying to think, it's got 2 bunk beds, but under the bunk beds are desks rather than actual beds, so it's actually 2 singles in that bedroom downstairs. And then upstairs there's 2 double bedrooms. There's the master bedroom, and there's another double bedroom, which could be either a guest bedroom, it could be a teenage room, it could be an elder room, it was just kind of pretty, you know, non-age specific for that second double bedroom. And then there is another single bedroom up there, which is kind of like teenagey. It's definitely not kids, it's more teenagey, sort of like purples and that sort of thing, so probably more feminine. So yeah, you've got nursery, you've got kids, you've got teen, and you've got a couple of double rooms as well that you can sort of mix and match. So I feel like that's nice and flexible. It's quite interesting that this interior of this house really kind of evolved as I went along, and there's going to be some stuff that I kind of changed off camera as well, right towards the end, and that was mainly curtains. So it wasn't really worth recording, to be honest, but yeah, I did end up changing the curtains. So keep an eye out when we get to tours and just check out how the house kind of turned out, because I feel like the changing curtains actually really did change like some of the looks slightly in the living room, particularly living room area. I was initially going to go quite black on the interior, which, you know, if anybody has watched my builds before, you'll know that I really enjoy a black interior. I love using black, but that evolved, and I ended up going like a lot more lighter on the interior. So it ended up being like a lot of blues and whites and creams, sort of like browns and beiges, and you know, that sort of thing. So yeah, I ended up just changing out a lot of the blacks for more sort of the blues and the whites, and yeah, I ended up veering away a little bit from the black. So good on me. You know, I mean, I decided that, you know, for a family home, going lighter and brighter, it kind of like made a little bit more sense. So yeah, you'll see that as we go along. The color, actually, it's going to change very shortly, I think. Yeah, the color of the kitchen's going to change. So it ends up being blue and white, and then the color of the actually the actual whole dining table thing changed as well. So those curtains that I'm putting in at the moment, because when we're talking about curtains, when you are dealing with base game and growing together only, are great limitations. So there wasn't a lot in terms of modern curtains that would work with the windows that I chose. I didn't. The grown together curtains are fine, I think, for kids' rooms, but they're not really great for lounges and, you know, living spaces and that sort of thing, because they've kind of got like these big pom-poms on them, and I'm just like, I don't know, I've never really vibed with those curtains, and I ended up not using them anywhere in the house, as it turned out, and he went with a whole other direction when it came to the curtains. But yeah, I don't. And the thing is, I don't know if you've ever looked at this, but I couldn't find any curtains that worked with large windows. Like, you know, I've got some, I'm going to say, I think medium-sized walls. And so I had some larger panes of windows, because you get those sort of medium-sized windows with growing together. And you've got absolutely no curtains that go on them. None. So some of the windows don't have curtains, just simply because there was just absolutely no curtains that went with them. None at all. I think that's an oversight in base game, to be honest, that there are no medium or large size curtains in base game. We have medium and large size base game windows. Why don't we have medium and large size curtains? Right? This is what I want to know. Why don't we? Because, you know, you don't really sort of think about it until you go and do a base game build and you have those larger size windows, and you're like, well. And it happens every single time I do this, because every now and then I'll do a base game or, you know, limited pack build, and I might, because more often than not, I'll build with a short wall, but every now and then I will build with a medium or a large wall, and then I'll come across this problem, just like, there's no curtains. How can I curtain my windows if I ain't got no curtains to go with it? And, you know, you can't put the short curtains on there because they look dumb. And then, I mean, the option is you can maybe put like some blinds on there, but they don't always work with what your vibe is in your build. So it's just like, bleh, why don't we have it? Where? As you do. It just seems like one of those obvious things that we should have and we just don't have. You know, sometimes you come across stuff and it's a bit like that. It's just like obvious thing that we should have and we don't have, and like, so this is the kids' bathroom that we're working on at the moment. So I did really think about the fact that I wanted to have this look like a kid's bathroom. So it's kind of got the kid little bits and pieces. Oh, I put the potty in. Yay. Okay, good. I did put a potty in. You know, and decals on the wall, and just making it a little bit, you know, of a fun experience. So, you know, it's very much a kid's bathroom for kids. So, you know, it's fun. They can splash around there. They can make a mess. It's got toys, you know, all of the things that they want. So the room that we're going to work on next here is going to be the nursery. I am just figuring out wallpaper because, again, base game wallpaper is hard work, particularly when you want it to be wallpaper and not just a plain paint. Like, the base game plain paints are fine. They work well. But the problem with just doing a plain base game paint is that you need to find a way to decorate your walls otherwise. And when you're doing limited pack builds and you don't have so many things to decorate walls with, it does become a bit challenging, and you end up with either repeating stuff or lots of bookshelves or, lots of blank wall space. And I'm not a big fan of lots and lots of blank wall space. I mean, I think some can be effective, but lots and lots, the whole idea is that I'm decorating the house, not leaving it like half empty looking with nothing on the walls. So, yeah, that's where the challenge comes in, because particularly, kids' room, we've kind of got like some limit, we've got decals and we've got bits and pieces that we can put on the walls, but, overall, the kids' decorations for walls are fairly limited. But yeah, so it's hard with a plain wall throughout the house, and then you're going to find things to decorate it with, or you find a wallpaper that works, so you don't have to have quite so much decoration up. But when you're looking at base game wallpapers, because we didn't really get anything much with growing together that was sort of wallpapery, it can be a bit of a challenge, because the choices are limited, particularly for kids' room. The choices are very limited, and I don't like most of the choices. Let's put it that way. The problem is me. I'm the problem, it's me, okay? I don't like most of the base game wallpapers. Like the confetti one that I use in the nursery is probably one of my favorites. I love this ombre wallpaper as well from Base Game. So that I've used two of my favorites and from Base Game wallpapers in this build, to be fair. And I know the ombre one is kind of plain, but it's got that ombre effect, and I feel like it does add something, even in plain sections. But with the kid stuff, because we do have a few decals and we've got a few decorations, it's not so bad. But there was a challenge in terms of finding wallpapers that I liked and finding stuff to put on the walls to make it not look boring. So hopefully I achieved that balance okay. So this bedroom here is basically the two double beds, two single bunk bedroom. Lots of activities in here. So we've got the science table, we've got the doll house, we've got desks with the computers on it, lots of toys and that sort of thing. So there's plenty to do for the kids in this particular room. They should be able to do their homework. They should be able to have their imagination skill go up, creativity, talking, all those sorts of things. So yeah, I'm hopefully a cute little bedroom for kids. I liked it anyway. I did lots of little things. Now, you will also notice if you do end up downloading this build from the gallery, there's actually going to be additional things throughout the house that I didn't really me adding. I discovered at some point during this build, because we had an update during the process of this build, base game update, and part of that base game update was adding in some origami and paper mache to debug. Because I discovered this stuff, I was mucking around in debug, and I discovered this stuff in debug, which was like these origami, like butterflies and paper mache masks and paper mache cats and owls and, like different kind of like frog origami and like llamas and things like that. So I think when we get upstairs, there's like a couple of points, maybe in the teenage bedroom, where you'll see some of that origami actually coming into the build. But I did actually end up adding some of it throughout the rest of the house as well. So there's like the little kid corner in the living room. I ended up adding some more origami to the walls there, and there's like little bits of paper mache. Different little bits of paper mache and like origami, like in different little places around the house as well. So there will be that coming around and about. So I ended as soon as I saw that was available and it was base game, I was just like, oh, I'm adding that. It's kind of perfect for the house that I'm building, because it's like kiddie kind of stuff and family stuff. So I was just like, yes, gonna throw that in there. So I did, but I didn't I didn't leave it in the editing, because I was just like, well, it's just me throwing some origami around the place. It's not that exciting, but you'll get to see some of it anyway a little bit later. But downstairs, there is some of that origami around the place. I remembered that because in that kid's bedroom, I added a bit, and I added it into the kids' corner in the living room as well. And there's a little section in the open hall entrance area that I added in some of the origami. I did some of the butterflies up on the wall in the white as well, which is quite cute. But I didn't leave it all in as far as editing goes, because I didn't want to go too long on this. I could have probably doubled down on the amount of time I spent on this, but I edited stuff out because I didn't want you guys to sit there for an hour with me nattering away about it. Instead, you get to sit here for half an hour with me nattering away about it. Because this is a limited pack build, I did dig into debug a bit with this build, so you can sort of see here some of the debug makeup going into this room or into this bathroom. Not just a room, it's a bathroom. So yeah, I did delve into debug a little bit, just because it just expands the build by options that you have. So this is the largest bathroom on I'm gonna say the second floor. This looks like a second floor bathroom. It's not the downstairs bathroom. So second floor bathroom, and that is how many bathrooms was the total in them? Because we got 2 bathrooms downstairs. And then I want to say there's maybe 3 bathrooms upstairs. So yeah, might be a total of 5 bathrooms altogether. It's either 5 or 4. I know that much. 4 or 5 bathrooms. So this is actually the master bedroom that we're starting to work on now. So the master bedroom kind of has like an open doorway through to the bathroom. And I did a wet room in that particular bathroom as well. So it's a decent sized bathroom, that one, in terms of an ensuite. I wouldn't complain about having an ensuite that size anyway. You've got to walk in. It's sort of like a walk-in shower, walk-in walk-in shower kind of bath area, and nice sized bathroom to put all your stuff in. So not a bad master room suite, master suite, bedroom suite. I don't know. I think I'm mixing all the words together. Anyway, I'm just creating like a little custom shoe rack shelf there, just simply combining the immaculate shelving with the shoe rack from base game. Just changes the color of it basically. Sometimes, because there's only 3 colors with those shoe racks, so sometimes it's just a case of it's just not the right color and I need to change the color, and just I do that with the immaculate shelving. It's a simple little trick. But you know what? It's effective, and it does mean that I have the color shoe rack that I want, or a close approximation of. It took me, way longer than it should have to really figure out the layout of this room and where I was going to put all the furnishing and what furnishing I was going to put in there. It was a bit of a hot mess of a bedroom, to be honest. But anyway, we got there in the end. So this is their ensuite. So this is the ensuite for that particular room. Again, I was just sort of figuring things out. It took me a little while to get to the point where I decided I wanted to like have a little wet room section and then like a separate bathroom sink kind of thing going on. But I figured it out. Just a little bit of mixing and matching and mucking things around, but got there in the end with it. I could have done like a shower bath combo really in there, but I kind of had a bit of space. So I was filling space that way by having a separate shower and a separate bath. So I mean, technically, if you want to have someone going in there and showering while somebody else is having a bath, I mean, if they're a couple, I feel like you can get away with that in The Sims. So why not? Why can't you have both? And then, they could both be using it at the same time while they're getting ready for work in the morning or whatever. It'll be good. It'll work out well, I promise. And yeah, so this is the sort of like a really large ensuite. They've got like a bit of counter space, and yeah, as I said, decent size space for them. And with just like I did a little haul. Oh, I did something playful here. I created a little thing. All of those curtains get changed. But with the TV area, I just had this idea in my head that I wanted a stand that could fit a stereo as well as have like the TV under it. So I decided to build my own thing. I don't know if it's how good it is or how terrible it is or what the story is with it. But anyway, I built a thing. And I got creative and I used different things from base game. So I'm using these vents, and it was like a little bit of fussing around because I had to like remove the walls and line things up, and I don't know, like every now and then I'll just like get to a build and then I'll just like randomly out of nowhere just start to just make something and be like really creative with it. So this is basically this portion of the build where I just like randomly decided to be creative, like create my own shelves. It's entirely possible I could have used like a console shelf that was already available, but to be fair, there wasn't like a lot of options base game in terms of something that would be able to have enough space to put the stereo on, and this is built specifically to fit the stereo on it. So yes, there is that. I think it worked out okay. Like there's some shelves that fit a stereo on there, and it kind of worked. And then I just popped some little bits and pieces around it and made it kind of pretty, I guess. So there's the paper mache thing. So yeah, there we go. Threw some little kids stuff under there as well because it is a family home. So I feel like, kids should have a presence in it. That makes sense to me. I did line up the shelves so that I could just lift up stuff and put it on there rather than slide it across. So that was also part of the makings of it. But anyway, did a little custom thing. It was cute. So this is the next, yes, it is 5 bathrooms. The next room, which is, this is the teenage room, because that has an ensuite as well. So this is a little teenage room that I did, and it was cute. I really like this room, actually. It's probably my favorite bedroom in the house, I think. Yeah, I would say so, because I really liked what I did around the bed, and you'll see that shortly. But the room itself does lean into purple tones, and the bathroom reflects that. I also went with a different coloured wallpaper in the bathroom just because I felt like the blue tones that I'd used in other bathrooms weren't working with that bathroom. But how cute is that butterfly thing on the walls with the origami? I thought that was so cute. I love those little butterfly origamis because, you know, you don't need to have that pack that has the butterflies going up the wall. I'm going to say probably Parenthood. You don't need it anymore. You can just use the origami butterflies base game and do like some pretty things on the walls with them. Anyway, I thought it was pretty. So there you go. And then we're moving on to the last bedroom. So this is kind of the neutral bedroom, which could kind of be for a teenager. It could be for elder. It could be who, you know, guest bedroom, whatever. Fairly, you know, fairly neutral. But I used a wallpaper that I wouldn't normally use, so I was proud of myself. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave you here because the build is about over. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you next time around. Bye-bye.